You could do an ad or just not even an ad, just a post on your Facebook or somewhere and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing my house in metal. Or I got somebody, my grandma's thinking, or just, make a question up that somebody can respond to. What's your opinion? And you'll get a lot of input there. Those things you think about and ask, like go back to that agent thing. If you're talking about houses, go back to the agent thing. You can do the surveys. Those are a lot of fun too. Do the surveys on the Facebook. And that's really the easiest one and cheapest. Hey, everyone. Chris G here. And my grandma always said as time, and I get older, time's going to go by faster. And I'm telling you what, it's already Tuesday again. You know that, Kevin? It does go by faster as you get older, but
well, that's the power of us being behind the scenes, Chris.
That's what it is.
Everything goes by faster behind the scenes.
Somebody's reaching. I said, "You got a podcast?" Like, "Oh yeah, I got a podcast." All right. So today we're going to talk about ways to stay up on your game with the industry, basically knowing where you're at, what the trends are, and so forth. And there's some easy ways to do that, and we're going to talk about those today. Kevin, what do you think?
I think, I think it's very important with anything. And if you're an auto mechanic, things are changing. Cars are different than they used to be. Everything's kind of different. So I can imagine that when it comes to building in general and the way things are built and the style and all that. So yeah, I thought it would be a cool thing to pick your brain on that.
Well, let's get started. My favorite one, podcast. Imagine that. No, podcasts are fun if you have time to listen to them. They're sometimes longer and it depends. And a lot of people listen to them while they're working and so forth. Podcasting give you lots of information, especially if you have guests, kind of broaden the horizon. Two minds are better than one. YouTube is another one. Now, what you got to be careful on YouTube is it up to date? So always check when it was published. And it doesn't mean that it's not any good. It just means that some of the information might be old. So if you're trying to keep up to date, that's important. One of the best ones is trade groups or associations, and they can be, I don't say costly. They require dues. That's how association makes their money. But it could include newsletters and magazines that you get. Those are always fun. I used to work for a company. That's what we did with associations, magazines. But they're always new, and the other thing they have is the advertisers. So advertisement just as important because they're trying to push out new ideas and so forth, new trends.
How do you become a part of an association? What's the process?
Just look them up and then apply. They're usually an application online. Find an association near you. Like if you're a contractor or concrete guy, concrete associations near me. There's nationwide ones. There's statewide ones. If your city's big enough, so like when I look it up, it's going to say Kansas City or St. Louis concrete workers. And those are options too. I'll tell you ones I like a lot to have fun with is that your local material place will have, I won't say meet and greets, but kind of a meet and greet where they'll feed you lunch and you learn about a product, something new out there that the vendors are actually sponsoring the meal. They want you to come in. They're going to show you new windows or new paint or whatever it is. Now, my favorite personal ones when Milwaukee tools show up, they're going to show me some tools and get you some discounts. But that being said, there's a lot of new ways to get that information. We talked about associations. If you don't have the money, a free one is to go on Facebook. Get you, they're called Facebook groups. If you don't know about those, look up in your area. There's a search bar. You'll go on Facebook, you'll find groups, and then there's a search bar, and you put in your industry, what you're interested in, and there'll be a bunch come up. And just pick the one you like the most, and pick more than one. And if you don't like them, then get out of that group, and you're already in a different one. If you're on YouTube and subscribe, you make sure you hit that notification button. That way you get all new stuff. But I love the YouTube ones because I learned a lot of different ideas and techniques. I'll watch somebody say, oh, that's how they do it, and take that back. Now, back in a long time ago, I used to go to different, in my corporate world, we go to different sites, or even you can do that today, go visit your competitors and see what they're doing. And they know, and they're going to do it to you too, so that's okay. But just ways to be more efficient, or you find out how somebody else is doing it. It's like, you take that little nitbit back and make it your own, or tell the process. And I tell you what, that does as well. If you can get some of your employees to go with you, it proves to them it can be done that way. One of the biggest things I used to have was like, it can't be bullshit. They said, nah, bullshit. Like, come on. And I'd take them. And some of these guys never been out of the country. And, I mean, literally out of the state lines. And we go and you go show other places. And here's what they're doing and how they do it. And that's, the beauty of association or Facebook is that you don't have to look at your competitors. Yeah. You're going somewhere else out of state that nobody cares. You're teaching,
Question. I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So number two, I have many questions. First question is, how do you know, just because it is a potential industry trend, how do we know whether it's stuck yet? Like, how do we know if that's the way people want it done? That's the first question.
That's all right.
And then the second question is, what are the potential pains that come with adopting a new trend? New tools, new materials?
Okay. Let's answer the first one first.
Please.
That's the easiest one. Now, I'm in residential stuff, so I built a lot of houses and we built the barns and so forth. You go ask your agents. I love asking agents. They know. They know what's selling and so forth, especially if you're doing spec houses. Hey, what's moving? What colors are the best? Color shingles. You can actually Google that too. Owen's Corner to tell you the most popular color selling right now. And that's usually nationwide. And, you can follow those trends. That's a really good one. But just ask. And that's when you go to those home trade shows, those showcase homes, because and that's a great way to find some clients too, at least in my world. When you're out there and you're walking around and the people there walking around, some of them there just be, spend the day. But a lot of people there are looking for ways to either remodel their house or build one. And you get those business cards. We talked about in the last episode having business cards, just kind of have them handy, ready to go. That's one thing. And you get to talk to other vendors too, and they're going to show you everything that's available that's new and why it's new. They're going to try to sell you on it. And then really what really happens is if you see more than one booth, it's selling the same end product. There's different ways to get there. You're going to know that somebody's spending quite a bit of money to market that, so it must be something really working.
Okay.
How hard is it to implement? And I guess that really depends on what it is. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you first. I'll hang on.
Okay. So I got a buddy, has a concrete company, does my foundations and so forth. And they make these really fancy wire ties. When you tie rebar, right now you can do it by hand. You got special tools, but they got one that's automatic, battery operated. It's like $1,300 for one. And then you have to judge, is it going to save you time and so forth? And you got to justify that. But it wasn't the money. He went and asked the guys, what do you think? They said, I don't see that big a benefit for it. And they explained why. And he said, well, I'm not going to spend $1,300 on one if they're not going to, they'd use it, but they're not going to see value in it. That's what I do with some of my guys. Milwaukee has stuff. I go ask them and say, hey, would you use this? Or do you see a benefit in it? Yes or no. And then I don't always do that way because sometimes you just got to force somebody to make them. And I don't mean negatively, but sometimes nobody wants to change what they're doing.
Yeah.
But if you can truly see an advantage to it and you can weigh the cost involved with it, either monetarily or time, those are really the two, then do it. And then sometimes, it depends on, like I mentioned, taking those vendor travels. If it's a big enough piece of equipment, you say, hey, can you take me somewhere where they're using it now or how they're using it? So what I always like doing is I take a guy with me. His job is actually see how the equipment that we're looking at is going. My job is get there and see what everybody else is doing, other things that I see, like what kind of skid loaders are using, what kind of attachment they have. You get your mind in there. It's like, okay, maybe that's a good idea. And so you're always out there, but you're always using other people and word of mouth. But the vendors are one of the best ones, and they cater to you. So you get a free lunch and you get to go out.
we love free lunch and discounted tools.
That's right. There's not a lot. Well, there are some, and I'm actually a member of one, but there's mastermind groups. You can do that. And if those don't know what mastermind group is, you be in a group of guys, and the more sophisticated ones will be other contractors, for example, across the United States that are competitors. And the really good ones are that they tell you that they will not allow anybody to index your competitor. B&I is actually one you could do, a business network. I forgot the I part, international, I guess. And those are local. And if you're in your chapter, they will not allow another competitor in. Now, what you are doing is that's more of a lead generation type thing, and it's not really what we're talking about here as far as keeping up on trends. But the people in there, if they've got like insurance agents, there'll be realtors, there'll be painters and so forth, and they'll tell you what trends are going on too, and they'll help you. They want to work with you, so they're giving you ideas, and you can use them as your subs and so forth. So that's another way of doing it.
Okay.
And that's really kind of a mastermind in itself, or even networking. So,
all right, this is a question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Go
You're
ahead.
good.
Mhm.
You're fired up. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Let's say we're talking. I don't know enough about it, but let's say we're going. The trend is we're going metal roofs.
Yep.
What are you thinking about internally to whether or not what do you need to do to start that trend? Are you thinking, okay, is it worth it? Is this the equipment I'm going to have to get? Is the training there? Like how do you determine how fast to implement it?
Well, there's a couple different ways. We always talk about marketing and testing. You could do an ad, or not even an ad, just a post on your Facebook or somewhere and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing my house in metal. Or I got somebody, my grandma's thinking, or just, make a question up that somebody can respond to. What's your opinion? And you'll get a lot of input there. I also think about what types of metals and what type of equipment I need to invest in to do metal roofing. There's a lot of different ones out there. There are some really neat ones, and I do that research too. How can I set myself apart from metal roofing? There's some, what do I call it? It's kind of like, they look like a shingle, but they're metal. Okay. Now, if I was a roofer, I was thinking that'd be kind of cool. It'd be one of those things you had to invest in, I'm sure, maybe be a dealer for. I don't know the whole details, but that's something you'd look into. Figure out your cost. They're going to tell you they're going to help you. They've got lots of money involved, and they want you to be a dealer for them, and how that could work, and how you set yourself apart from the advantages and disadvantages. We do metal roofs here, except mine look like barns, and they're barn metal. You can get the next step up is what they call not tongue and groove, but basically it's a fancier hidden screw. You can't see the screws in it. And then you go to these other ones that act like shingles, but they're metal and they look like a shingle. And a lot of people like those because they don't like the looks. I would not have metal on my roof. That's just me personally. I like shingles, but people love metal roofs for different reasons. They're durable, they look nice, and they can look nice. I just don't like it on mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those things you think about and ask. Like go back to that agent thing. If you're talking about houses, go back to the agent thing. You can do the surveys. Those are a lot of fun too. Do the surveys on the Facebook, and that's really the easiest one and cheapest. What do you think about this? Or somebody's got an opinion, and they're going to share it with you, whether you want it or not.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Is there a specific industry trend that you learned recently that surprised you? Put you on the spot here.
I want to say yes, but I can't think what it would be. I don't know one recently. I know one that was old. And what happens is, and depending on where you're at, you're going to get some of these trends, say on the East Coast and the West Coast, before you get them into Central Missouri.
Right.
So that was kind of neat when I'd find out about concrete, and they'd use styrofoam forms. There's always types of ways they try to improve the process and make it faster or more efficient, or it costs a little bit more, but you're getting energy benefits and so forth. It didn't work as well here in Missouri, but there was foam forms for concrete, mainly because I think we have clay, but in other states, they work out great, which is kind of neat. New construction. So what do I want to say? A lot of houses can settle. Okay. And they'll settle and you know, you got drywall cracked and so forth. And where the ground, if you got a lot of drought and the ground shrinks up when it dries and then the house settles and so forth. Well, on new construction homes, they got an anchoring system. The same type of anchoring system they do to repair homes that are already built. But you can get new construction anchors, which are a lot cheaper because and you already got the hole dug for your footers anyway. And they just come in and zip, zip, zip. And then that concrete gets poured around that anchor and you don't have to worry about it settling in the future.
Hmm.
Now, some people say, well, that's just money I'll never see again. Yeah. But you don't have to worry about your house settling. I mean, you can't have a better foundation because now you got engineered anchors going in the ground, torqued to a certain spec, and they will not settle. They do a lot in cities. They do a lot of residential, or not residential, a lot of commercial buildings are required to have it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That way they won't settle. Engineers say, yep, they give their stamp of approval and you don't have to worry about your tall building tumbling someday. Bathrooms. I'm talking about trends. Obviously, I'm not surprised, but this is important to know in the bathroom is that a lot of people are wanting walk-in showers. They're getting older. You want seats with them. So for the guys that are doing remodels, that's a big one. When we do new homes, I hardly ever put a tub in anymore. Now, if I'm trying to save money, the tubs and the shower stalls are the least expensive, and for new homeowners are great. But if you're actually doing custom homes and so forth, I hardly ever do them anymore.
Interesting. Okay. What else? Any other specifics like that?
Flooring is a big one. That changes a lot sometimes. The colors change. That's kind of season. I don't say seasonal. That's kind of annual, and that's where trends come in. You know, they're wearing the grays right now. It used to be the taupes. Those will change, and then even in different shades of gray. Not 50, but you know, there are different shades of gray that are trending. The flooring, you've got a lot of click. They call it the click vinyl LVP, and it's basically vinyl flooring in a plank form, and it kind of looks like wood floor or solid wood, hardwood flooring. And you can get some really nice stuff, and it's waterproof and so forth. Those are not surprising, but those are trends that are now. And somebody won't even use carpet anymore. I don't want any carpet. Like, okay, it's just those type of things you find when you go to those trade shows and so forth. But it just really depends. You can, I tell you what, I used to do a lot of it. I don't do as much anymore, but I used to buy houses. And sometimes if you guys that's another discussion we have later in another podcast. But if you guys are looking for work and you don't have work right now, buy yourself work, buy those homes, fix them up, use your crews to do that, and then make a nice, pretty profit on that. Plus, you know, you got using your crews. But at that point, when you want to keep up on the trends, what's selling right now? And if you're doing your homework right, you'll ask those agents that you want to, like I always have my mom, I bring her in, I was like, okay, what I got to do here to fix this house up to make it right to sell? And she'd give you a list. And your agent would do it too. Here's what needs to happen. It's like, all right, let's make that happen. And you got your crews to do it or your subs, and you just keep rolling on.
Okay. All right. Speaking of lists, if we were going to give, and if you have anything else, we'll do it after.
Okay. I'll tell you what, this week, I want you to either look up an association and you say, well, I don't want to spend the money. Then look up a Facebook group and join that group. Join more than one, like I said, because you might not like one of them. And then important thing to know when you do sign up for a group, Kevin, they'll tell you how many times that person posts or that group posts in a week. So, for example, if you get on there and they only post once a month, that's probably not the most up-to-date type of group you want to be part of. Look up trade shows. Now, this is early spring. Spring seems to be the time of year that they do these trade shows for homes. But they also do them in the fall. Like there's a concrete show for epoxy and the concrete in general. They do in Las Vegas in the fall or late in the winter. Winter's time is a good one too, with those guys that are actually seasonal. They don't have any time to, they're not going to pour concrete here in Missouri in January, more than likely. So they go to Las Vegas, learn about different ways to do the concrete, different tools and so forth.
Okay.
So look up and Google trade shows near me or trade shows in your industry. And then I want you to go to YouTube and find you go to the search engine on YouTube, find you a channel that specifies either in tools or trends or whatever, and especially in your industry, and sign up for it. Do not forget to hit that notification button. That way you get new notifications that something's new out there. And when you pull up YouTube, it gives you recommendations and they'll pop up too. So those 3 things I think would be ideal to keep you up to date on the trends.
All right. I concur with all that. The way I think of it is if you like fishing and you follow fishing on YouTube, you have a bunch of content about fishing. Imagine if all that content was about the trade that you are becoming a CEO in.
It's the same thing. So, yep.
Boom. All right.
So guess I got things going on Tuesdays. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, but I want to hear more about it.
All right. Well, on Tuesdays, upcoming Tuesdays, not every Tuesday, but about once a month, once every 6 weeks, we're going to have a free workshop. And we're going to talk about different things about becoming a CEO, starting out as a hard hat, getting out of those swinging the hammers and pushing the brooms, but turning over the reins and letting people be the letting them run your show and you be the CEO. So if you're not willing to do that, then we're not the right place for you. So, but that's what needs to happen. But basically, in the show notes below, there'll be a link. We'll find out things. I'll give you more details about the workshop and what we're going to be talking about this next one. And actually, the next one I'm doing is we're going to talk about profits and how to make profits what you have without actually doing anything else. So that's kind of fun.
We like that. And free money.
Well, even better, I think, is when we talk about taking those profits and then put them in creating other jobs, other money trees and so forth. So anyway, again, look in the show notes below. Kevin, it's been great.
Always.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.